Hi, I'm Marian van Noppen, and I am a senior sleep consultant on our sleep squad, and I live in New York City. And I'm here today to talk to you about some of the relaxation techniques that I teach some of my clients to work on with their kids who may be experiencing difficulty at the end of that bedtime routine when everything seems to be going great, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, I don't want to go to bed. I don't want you to leave, mommy. Can I have one more back rub? Can I have a little extra water? Whatever it may be. Or if it's in the night wakings, they're calling for you and they need that extra security. They're really missing the parent. And so these are some things that I teach my clients that the child can start to do on their own to really take ownership of their bedroom, their bed, really feel safe and secure in their space, and start to do in the middle of the night when they wake up, as they fall asleep, so that they can start to develop that muscle of self-regulation. They're laying the foundation of that self-regulation that will be with them for the rest of their lives. So I think it's important to first identify where some of these separation anxiety fears come from, because that way we know how to address them properly. And one thing that it comes down to is the simple fact that sleep and going down at bedtime and then waking up in the morning, that stretch of time is pretty much the longest time that we ask kiddos to be away from us. And to some degree, whether they're sleeping, through a lot of that or not, they do know that that's happening. So if they are experiencing some separation struggles, we want to help make the gap that is required of them for sleep between us and them. We want to make that gap smaller. So how can we do that? We can do that in a few ways, right? We can develop some relaxation techniques that they can fall back on when they are feeling stressed. And that one's a little abstract, right? We start to really implement those as adults, but there are some things that children can do and start learning really young. We can infuse our presence into their bedroom, and we can also help teach them these things in a supportive way, where we are offering more space as needed. We start very supportive, and then we can provide more and more distance as they gain trust in the process, gain trust in the distance, and know that we're always going to be there for them. So one of the first pieces of homework that I give my clients is, if they don't have one already, to come up with a key sleep phrase. You might call it a mantra, a sleep mantra, but it should be something that any caregiver can say to the child that will cue them that it's time to go to sleep. And the goal is that at some point later down the road, you can say this phrase and the child knows, oh, okay, it's time to go to bed. I ask that this phrase be simple. Anyone can say it. You can embellish it when you're saying it yourself. You can add those I love yous and you're the best, all those sweet things, but you really want to keep it simple, and that you practice it over and over and over and over with your child so that they learn how to say it too. A good key phrase might be something like, I am safe. I am protected. I will see mommy and daddy in the morning. So come up with a sleep mantra that you and your child love and any caregiver can say. And you also want to say it at nap time too. You want to say it at all sleep situations so that we're really instilling that this is the sleep protection, right? The sleep spell, if you wish. Practice this phrase all throughout the day. When you're on the way to school, say, oh, let's say I feel like saying our sleep phrase together. Let's say it. What is it? How does it go again? I think it goes, oh yeah, I am safe. I am protected. I will see mommy and daddy in the morning. You could do it at lunchtime. Say, I know we're having lunch, but I really love your sleep phrase. Let's say it real quick. I want to say it. You want to say it? You don't want to say it? Okay, well, I'm just going to say it. And eventually, it will become part of your child's vocabulary. Now, in line with the sleep phrase, one thing that's really effective is having a sleep button. And I will put the link to the button that we recommend to our clients. You can record your sleep phrase onto this button. And when your child wakes up in the night and they want to hear your voice saying the phrase and give that security to them, they can press the button. Practice pressing the button together at bedtime. You can actually put the button onto their crib or their bed, double-sided Gorilla Tape, or you can put it, if they have a little table beside them, say, okay, if you wake up in the night, you want to call out for me. First thing I want you to do is I want you to reach for your button. And I want you to take a few deep breaths, press your button. I'll be right there with you. My voice will be there. And I want you to say the phrase with me, okay? It's time for sleep. I wish for sweet dreams. I love my bed. Okay, can I see you press the button? Let's do it together. And then you can press the button together. You can do it over and over and over. And then at night, at the bedtime routine, you can actually press the button and say the phrase with the button. You're teaching your child that it's okay to press the button. The button is not scary, and the button is a safety tool. So another thing is, until a child expresses a fear of the dark, and usually, I think the earliest I've seen that with my clients has been around 2.5 years old at the earliest. But until they really verbalize and they say, I'm scared, I'm scared of the dark, they really don't need a nightlight. Their pupil to oculus ratio is much larger than ours, and they take in a ton of light in the room. So you really want their room pitch black so that they're not picking up on any external light, whether that's light leakage from outside, because what that's going to do is just trigger their eyes to send a signal to the brain to tell their system to produce cortisol and keep them awake. And that will lead to night wakings. Definitely check the light in the room. But once a child expresses a fear of the dark, you can put a nightlight in the room. I would just make sure that it is in the amber tone range or even the red or pink range, because those colors are conducive to sleep. Anything in the cooler tones is going to be more like the rays of the sun, which will produce cortisol. So you want it to be like a Himalayan salt lamp, or it could be like a hatch lamp. The yellow amber light is a really good one. Just keep it really low. For those kiddos, once they make that transition to the big kid bed around 3 years old, you can keep their door cracked and keep the hall light on, and that will help keep that thread to you alive and help them feel that sense of security and safety. So as I mentioned, a lot of the fear at bedtime comes from this separation from you. And that means we just want to infuse the sleep space with you. How can we do that? Well, there are a few things we can do. One thing I like to recommend, and that's pretty effective, is to wrap your child's pillow in one of your t-shirts, if they're allowed to have a pillow, of course. You can put pictures of you outside of their bed. I've had clients who have given their children notes that they will put under the pillow. The child will put it under the pillow. And I had one client who just had like a stack of notes and photos that they kept under their pillow and slept with. And anytime that they were scared in the night, they would pull one out and hold it. If they're sleeping in a bed and have a table beside them, you can create a dream jar, like a dream jar of happy memories. And that's a great arts and crafts project too. So what you would do is just draw out or write down some images. You can work on it together. Say, okay, what is something that makes you really happy that you would love to dream about? Is it cotton candy clouds? Okay, let's draw cotton candy. And so, you can come up with a little story about the cotton candy clouds. Let's think about a time, maybe you're flying in the sky with some cotton candy clouds. Oh, there's some lollipop birds beside you flying along. Oh, how fun. You can just draw some cotton candy and maybe a lollipop, fold that up, put it in the jar. Then you can talk about maybe a real memory, right? Oh, remember that time we went to Disney World and you had so much fun eating that Disney snow cone, Mickey snow cone. Let's draw Mickey. So you can do a little Mickey ears and fold that up, put that in the jar. And you can kick it up a notch and put little twinkle lights into the jar and actually make it a night light. You can get those little amber twinkle lights and have it in their room. So if they wake up in the night, what they can do, and if they're scared, they can pull out one of the little images from the jar, unfold it, and they can change the channel of their brain. So if they're scared, this will change the channel. It's like, okay, now I'm going to think of the cotton candy clouds or the time at Disney. And having the twinkle lights helps them find the jar. Another thing you can do with your kiddo is during the last 5 minutes of the bedtime routine, when you're tucking them in, you can do some little, what Kelly calls hand hugs. And that's just taking your hands like this and you're just squeezing along your child's arms and legs. You can also squeeze the skin on their face. That's an area that we don't really get touched a lot, like the skin pulled. We don't really get that touched very often, and it's very soothing. Or you can do a scalp massage. Just watch the drowsiness. Don't get your child too drowsy. You don't want to put them to sleep with this, but what you're doing is activating the parasympathetic nervous system to put your child into rest and digest. And you can say the key phrase over and over as you're doing those things. You can also start teaching your child deep breathing at a very young age. Some people call them hot chocolate breaths, some people call them birthday candle breaths. So what you would do is you would say, okay, I want to try this special breathing. Let me show you what you do. Do you want to do it with me? It's you take a deep breath and let's blow the birthday candles out. Did you get them all? Did you get all the birthday candles? Good job. Good job. Don't blow too hard or the birthday candles will fall over. So you can practice those birthday candle breaths. And what that's doing is you're actually teaching your child how to deep breathe so they can start doing deep breaths when they're really worked up at night. If you do need to go into the room and help calm them down or do some deep breaths before lights out. So practice that so your child has a breathing technique they can start learning now as well. Most importantly, and I cannot stress this enough, you have to rehearse. I am an actor. I would never do a performance without rehearsing. That's like one of my worst nightmares, literally. So make sure that you do rehearsals during the day with your kiddo of what these things look like. If they're really afraid of the dark, start small. Be in the room with them and practice turning the light off and see where they get scared. Like I said, when I turn the light off at this level, start with the blinds fully open and the light off and see what their comfort level is there and start there. Then you can close the blinds. Then you can work on getting yourself out of the room to a place of the light on, the night light on, and the door cracked, and having your child be more comfortable with you right outside the room. But what you want to do is practice the techniques of what they can do if they wake up. So some of those things would be, okay, so what will you do in the night if you wake up and you feel like calling for mommy? First thing I want you to do is remember, let's do your birthday candle breaths or your hot chocolate breaths or whatever you want to call them. And so let's do those together. Okay. Do you remember how to do those? Let's do them. Deep breath. Blow it out. Blow all the candles out. And then after you do that, then you would say, okay, let's say our sleep mantra together. If they have the button, you would say, and you press the button, and work through what they can do. Or like squeeze your t-shirt pillow, squeeze your mommy pillow really, 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 really tight. Squeeze your pillow really tight and say your words. Take your birthday candle breaths. Think of something amazing to dream about. Try to fall back to sleep. I know you can do it. I know you can do it. Let's practice. And then you will practice in these settings when the stakes aren't high so that they can fail successfully. They're not trying to implement these techniques for the very first time in the middle of the night when they're scared. So I hope that these relaxation techniques are helpful and you can start implementing these with your child today. Regardless of age, the most important thing is that you're teaching your child how to gain ownership and confidence in their bedtime process and in their overnight sleep. And if you are struggling at all with any of these, or you need some help just with implementation, or you don't even know where to start, you can give us a discovery call and we will tell you what the next steps are for you and how we can assist you, okay? We can walk you through our program and tell you how we could guide your little one back to sleep.